What's up, guys? What's going on? Teach Me Tuesday. It is here. I hope everyone has had a great Labor Day and restful, relaxing Labor Day. I know I did. So, but I'm gonna let some people jump on. We have Teach Me Tuesday today. Unfortunately, I don't have my team with me. Gavin and LaShawn, they had some other um, had a conflict in the schedule. But of course, I'm trying to hold it down for them. Hopefully, I can. So, and we're gonna get started today. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I know a lot of times when I come on here, I'm always focusing on the buyer. Okay, the buyer. But today I'm gonna focus on the seller. Okay, the property owner. Okay, the homeowner. And I'm gonna ask this question: if you are thinking about selling your home or putting it on the market, I'm going to give you some advice and tips, okay, on some things I want you to consider. All right. This is coming straight from a realtor that sells homes in Orangeburg and surrounding areas. And I noticed some common mistakes some sellers make when trying to sell their home or things they don't consider. And I'm just going to give you some things to think about. But before I get started, got my coffee with me. Let me drink a little bit of my coffee. I know you're like, why is he drinking coffee? And it's almost 1 o'clock. I just love coffee. But a quote, well, it's not really a quote, but it's a piece that came from out this book called The 12-Week Year. Okay. It's a good book, guys. If you haven't read it, read the book 12-Week Year. It's a really good read if you're trying to achieve some goals in a short time frame. 12-week year. But it talks about greatness in the moment. I'm gonna say that one more time. Greatness in the moment. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people they want to be great. They just think that they can wake up one day and you just don't wake up great. Okay. Greatness is a decision you make each and every day. You decide to move towards what you're trying to go to. Okay. So make that decision today to be great at whatever it is, whether it's, hey, I want to make this amount of income, or if I want to lose this amount of weight, or whatever it is, make that decision and you make it every day. And that's how you become great, by making great decisions each and every day. All right, let's get into it. Talk to my property owners out there right now. One of the things that I notice that some sellers they don't consider, and something that I always advise my sellers to do. And a lot of times sellers really don't know their house. And what do I mean by that? They really don't know the issues that their home really has. Okay. I live in my house, for example. And guess what? I don't go underneath my house regularly. I don't go on my roof like that on a regular basis. So, but one of the things I would, as a tip to my sellers out there, hey, get a home inspection before you put your house on the market. Get that home inspection. Why is that important? Because that home inspector is going to give you a bird's eye view of what that potential buyer, is going to see after they do their inspections. And this is so important, guys. I can't This is one of the first things on my list. Like I said, it's so important because you got to understand, as a buyer of, let's say the first time home buyer, let's say they get that home inspection and it's literally, I don't know, 100 things on there. And that's not uncommon to see 100 things on a home inspection. When that buyer sees that home inspection, it's almost like a shock to them. Like, oh man, I thought this was the home of my dreams, right? And when they get that home inspection, they're kind of like, oh my God, do I really want this house or not? So think about it. If you are a seller out there, do you want your buyer, want that potential buyer to really feel that shock when they see that this house hasn't been taken care or maintained, hasn't been maintained to the best of your ability? One of the things I always tell people, hey, it's a lot of things are obvious. When you go walk into a house, you might see, hey, there's a water stain on the ceiling, or hey, look at that paint that's chipping on the wall, or look at that floor. There's something going on over there. You need to get that fixed. Those are the visible things that your typical buyer is going to walk into the house and see. But when you get that home inspector out there, he's going to come with a different set of eyes. He's going to come with those inspector eyes that's really going to be looking for issues. Okay. So if you, the seller, decide, hey, I want to put my best foot forward in selling my home, get a home inspection, then fix those items that you feel like you need to fix for the house to have the best chance of selling. Okay. Um, a lot of people like to, I'm a harp on this a little bit. A lot of people like to add, like, man, I'm gonna put the granite in there. I'm gonna paint this beautiful paint, or I'm gonna do this or do that. I always tell my investors that's trying to sell their homes, I say, hey, let's make it solid first. Make the home solid first. Then, if it's in the budget, let's add the razzle dazzle. Okay. All right. That razzle dazzle may get you the contract, but that doesn't mean it's going to get you to close. I'm going to say that one more time. That razzle dazzle may get you the contract, but it doesn't mean it's going to get you to close. All right. So make your house solid first. All right. Make sure you got a solid home. Water heater not working. Let's make that water heater work, or let's buy a new one. Okay. The essential components of the home. Let's make sure the home is solid. Okay. One of the next things that I always try to, talk to my sellers about, my property owners about, that's thinking about selling the property. Let's really pinpoint, who are we trying to sell this house to? Okay. That's very important. That's super important. Who are we trying to sell this house to? Is it going to be to your homeowner, that person that's going to live in the house? Okay, that first time buyer, that person that's trying to upgrade and buy their second home. Okay, or is it that investor, that person that's like, hey man, I really not crazy about all the razzle dazzle you put into the house, but more so I'm looking at the value. Okay, I'm going to make it either a rental property, or I'm going to make it or I'm going to do a flip. Okay, I'm going to renovate it, put it back on the market, and try to sell it for a profit. Why is this important? Because it's going to boil down to how you price the house and how you fix the house up for that potential buyer. Okay, you're going into the market with a determined ideal client that you're looking for. Making sure that, hey, is this going to be for an investor? We need to have an investor price that's typically lower than what a person that's going to live in the house is going to pay for. Okay. Or are you trying to fix it up so you can get top dollar from that person that's going to live in that house? Okay. So at that point, we're gonna talk about some of the things we need to do in the house to make sure it looks well and shows well to the buyers. You might have to spend some additional funds in order to get that particular buyer that you want. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Make sure you know exactly who you are trying to sell the house to. All right. Um, Also, for my sellers out there, I want to make sure that that this is not the same market that we were in during COVID. All right. In that market, pretty, it was pretty ridiculous. I'm gonna just be honest. Sellers were getting whatever they wanted for the house, not having to worry about a whole lot of the things I just talked about. Man, people were buying homes left and right, no matter the price point, and it was going above ask price. People were paying above ask price. We are not in that same market. Okay. So now that we're not in that same market, I want you to be able to be negotiable. All right. Be negotiable. A lot of times, some sellers, they come into the market, um, and they're not willing to pay any closing costs. They're not willing to wiggle on the price point, and they just wanted to sit on the market until that wonderful buyer just comes along and buys the house. One of the things I like to do with my sellers every 30 days is we try to do a price assessment every 30 days. And what that does is, guys, what it does is, once we do that price assessment, I look at what homes recently sold for in the area, see what if there's any recent activity on why we might not be getting offers on the house, or what did that property sell for down the street. Maybe we might need to consider maybe a price improvement or price reduction, maybe offer maybe some concessions for the buyers and see what they paid for. I recently had a scenario with some of my sellers recently, and we were talking about the price point, wondering, well, how come we haven't gotten any offers? And we looked at some comps in the area, and my sellers brought up a good point, and they brought up a really good point. It's like, Wilmot, this house sold for this much over here. Shouldn't we be looking at it with that same price per square foot? And I told him, I said, we can, but let me find out all the details on that particular home. That home was listed for, let's say, 240,000, and it sold for 240,000. It was like, well, they didn't have, they sold it for what they listed it for. So I went and I did some more digging for that particular client. Come to find out, that seller paid $12,000 in closing costs. Okay, that changed some things for them. They realized, like, oh, that's why they sold it for 240, because they paid a good amount in closing costs. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I want my sellers, my property owners, to be negotiable in this particular market. Okay, it doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve the property if you are stuck on a certain price point that it's not selling for. And I get it. Let's give it some time. I want my sellers to be patient. I want them to be patient to sell the home. But after we do the price assessment, after we look and do some more, do another CMA, a comparative market analysis for the property, and it shows that, hey, we might need to drop the price a little bit based on the recent sales in the area, I really feel like that will help a lot to make sure your property is getting the right amount of attention that it needs. Um, I appreciate my guys over here commenting. I can't pull them up. Um, but Michael Elliott and Brian Williams. Uh, but I want you guys to be negotiable in this market because it's not the same market. Okay, it has shifted. Okay, buyers are being more, stiff with, their offers. They might come under ask price. They might come asking for full closing costs. Okay, doesn't mean you have to pay it, but it means, hey, I might need to be negotiable with what I'm asking for my property. Okay, one of the things I want to bring up to all my property owners out there as well. I know I get some comments sometimes about repairs and stuff like that. And guys, I want to let you know this. I can be a resource for you. I deal with homes all the time. One of my best friends gave me a nickname, and I appreciate it, Mr. I got a guy. So if you got an issue with your roof, you got an issue with some plumbing, you got an issue with whatever, I'm pretty sure I met a contractor that fixed that particular item on that home. So guys, use your realtor, man. Ask your realtor if you already have one, or if you need, some help with some repairs in your home. I'm more than happy to, lend out my resources to you if there's some items in your home that you just need to get fixed. Even if you're not thinking about selling and you just need someone, you just don't know who to call to fix this particular item, I got a guy. All right, I got a guy. So I gave you pretty much, like, I was going to keep this one kind of short and brief, but I just wanted to get this out here about some tips for my sellers, my property owners out there that's thinking about putting their home on the market. If you are considering putting your home on the market, hey, get a home inspection. Number one, fix those items that need to be addressed. Okay. Also, let's determine who you're going to sell this house to. All right. Who's the person? If your house is, hey, it needs a ton of work and you're not willing to fix it, most likely that might go to an investor. An investor might want to come in, renovate that property, bring it to its full glory. Okay. And we need to price it accordingly. And then lastly, let's for my sellers, let's be negotiable. All right. I cannot emphasize that enough in this particular market. Your property could be, sold in little time frame if it's priced correctly. Okay. I hope this gave you some value. Again, this is Teach Me Tuesday. Wilmot Bear with the Bear Group, brokered by EXP Realty. If you do have any questions or do need any resources, please contact me. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing Tuesday and let me know how I can serve you. Be blessed.